Hey everybody, and thanks for coming in, checking out the patch notes for February 21st, 2023. Marvel Snap just launched these patches today and they are live in Snap. We got some very interesting balance updates to go look at, including these guys here, but some other interesting bug fixes and other things. So without further ado, let's just go ahead. We are live on twitch.tv with the most incredible chat that there is. King T-Bell coming in with the raid. King T-Bell, big shout out to him. Met him at Creators Clash. He is Deep Money's bud, and it is great to see King T-Bell coming in with Z3. Guys, thank you guys so much for coming in. We're doing a little bit of patch notes. So let's just go ahead, get right into it. And then we will be uploading this live to YouTube. So help me analyze these patch notes. Let's take a look at them together. I'm going to take the cards off just for a moment as we get these guys going. And you know, we might be here in a YouTube, but that doesn't mean that we don't have a, we can definitely shout out King T-Bell. Guys, if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're live in chat right now, hit that heart button, give King T-Bell, our raider, a follow.
Maybe.
I appreciate that follow, King T-Bell. This is what live Twitch is all about. It's the fun that we get to have here. So let's look at these notes, right? February 21st, 2023. First off, we have the series drops. We got Silver Surfer, Null, Hawk, and Sentry all going from 5 to 4. All right. Now, this is good stuff, right? We're seeing the drops happen on a regular basis now, almost every single month. It looks like the drops are definitely following release order, right? I don't remember. I think these were like December, maybe these were December. I can't remember exactly, but they're following in the order that they released. I didn't have the Hawk. And when I saw this announcement last week, I went out and I bought the Hawk because it was the only Series 5 I didn't have, which means I've got all the first edition future badges. If you guys aren't aware, if you get a Series 5 card while it's still in Series 5, you will eventually, when they retroactively make this badge, get some kind of badge, some kind of indicator that when you inspect the card will tell you, hey, this guy's a whale. So, you know, I'm trying to stay a little dolphin-y, but that's where we're at. From 4 to 3, Coulson, Hill, and Helicarrier. Big hype on Helicarrier here. I don't have Helicarrier yet, have not been able to pull the carrier from the collection reserves. And so I'm actually really excited about that one, finally getting to play with that card. So some good additions to 3. We've got a lot of agent shield interactions here. A lot of card generation, which can be pretty good in a tournament open deck list because then you're generating cards that they don't actually know about. You low-key don't like the drops, King T-Bell. Just as you start getting to big tokens, they add more pull 3 and you have to wait again. Ooh, very, very interesting point. Yeah, that's a good call out, King T-Bell. Everybody who is Series 3 complete after this drop, you're no longer Series 3 complete. So you got to go through and collect these cards. Luckily for me, it's just Helicarrier that I'm missing, so I shouldn't be missing out on too many token drops. But that is a good point. If you're used to getting those 200 to 600 tokens, you will now be getting one of these 3 cards instead. Kneel before Kang. I'm excited for Kang. Yeah, you're missing all 3, so you're gonna have to keep an eye out there, King T-Bell. Find them all before you start collecting tokens again. We got some art and visual effects here. Let's see here. Oh, this is interesting. Series 5 and 4 now have a shared rotation protection. I'm not quite sure what that means, but I'm guessing it's like a lot of people were getting the exact same Series 4 card over again, and it felt really bad. So I'm guessing now that if you only have one Series 4, it's more of a chance that you'll see a different card instead of it always hitting that one Series 4 card. They added a confirmation dialogue for purchasing season pass levels. That's a good one. I did accidentally buy a bunch one time because I thought I was just opening them and instead I was spending gold. So that confirmation, a good quality of life. And then tapping the credits or the gold icons at the top screen will navigate to the shop, which is kind of nice. Another quick high. We got some art and visual effects. Onslaught visual effect is faster, especially for Bar Sinister. Good quality of life. additional video effect for locations affected by claws ability, excellent quality of life, notification when you try to discard while your hand is empty, cool. Animation for rickety bridge location, all right, let's go, I'm down for that. And then this is huge, guys. Mysterio's illusions will now use the variant. All you fantastic Mysterio enjoyers out there, those Mysterio enjoyers, channel mispronunciations in this place, will finally be able to show off those variants. It was really disappointing to me that you could have a really sick Mysterio variant and your opponent never see it, right? Now this is what we're all kind of interested in, I do believe. These are the balance updates. So first off is the Hawk himself. He's dropping down by 1 power. Doesn't feel like that big of a change, right? The devs kind of mentioned it's an exceptionally powerful card, and so they were prepared for this balance change even before Surfer and Zabu. But they didn't want to nerf him into the ground with the Surfer and Zabu change going into effect as well. 1 power always seems like it's not that big of a deal, but it is. Think for a moment how many games you lose due to 1 or 2 power, right? On Hawk, I think it is kind of less of a deal because most of his power comes from his ongoing effect, but 1 point can always make a difference in Marvel Snap. Next up, we've got the big bad himself, Thanos, going up to a 6'11". What the heck's going on? This guy beats out Infinite now, which I think is good lore and flavor. Thanos is supposed to be a big bad, he's supposed to be super powerful, and him just being at like an 18 when you had the Power Stone interaction pop off, just didn't feel powerful enough, right? And the devs were dead on about this. People were playing that deck for the stones. Now, with Thanos being a potential 21 power card, we might actually see some more like decks specifically built to powering up Thanos. But as Captain Wiggin is pointing out right now, it makes him always Shang-Chiable every single time. You look at a lot of Lockjaw decks. In fact, take a look at Ordinary Harry's Lockjaw deck that he won the Creators Clash with. 12 out of 16 competitors brought a deck with Shang-Chi in it. Harry's deck had no cheatable targets. The only way that he had a cheatable target was if Thanos was powered up by the Power Stone. So, and that's something he can control, right? He has full control over that. So he could always reliably dodge cheat altogether. So there are going to be some scenarios, some very niche edge case kind of scenarios, some decks, that this is actually kind of a nerf for. Shang-Chi is extremely popular on the ladder right now. It's extremely popular in battle mode. So being able to play a deck that does not have any cheatable targets guarantees that your opponent has basically a dead card. 4 energy for 3 is not a good deal. It's not unless you can get that destruction off. And previously with some Thanos decks, you could dodge Shang-Chi. Now, Thanos is cheatable always, no matter if you got Power Stone activated or not. And on top of that, it's a 6-drop in a Thanos deck. Thanos fills up their lanes real quick. You got all the stones, you fill them up. You know what I'm saying? So that 6-drop guessing game of where do I play Chi to kill their Thanos, not that big of a guessing game. It's really not. More often than not, Thanos comes down on turn 6, they got 2. They got 2 locations open. That's it. 2 spots to be able to play cards. They've already filled up everything else. So that's a 50-50, right? Nah, that's not even 50-50. You know that they're going to be trying to win the lane they're losing. So that's where you put the Shang-Chi and make sure you counter them down. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a very easy Chi target now, for sure. Overall, though, a very cool Thanos buff. Something that I think does fit Thanos. Again, he wasn't the big bad. He wasn't the powerful card powerhouse that we wanted Thanos to be, that Second Dinner wanted Thanos to be. And now he actually is, which is very cool, very sweet, and I think it's a good change overall. Overall a buff, but it is very an important call out that he is always cheatable now. And so there were some decks built specifically not to have chi targets, and now they're guaranteed to have 1 chi target. Next up is our boy Sandman. Sandman being a card that I thought was going to be really popular in the Zabu meta, but he just wasn't at 4-1. He just wasn't playable enough. Now he's boosted up to a 5/5. He's got a little bit of power behind him, but you can't put him down as late. So he's more of a turn 6 disruption card, right? Thanos gets disrupted if they're trying to hold their stones for turn 6. Miracle Sarah now has to fear Sandman coming down on 5. These kind of decks, right, are now, Sandman might actually be viable to counter them. I'm really optimistically hopeful that this change makes Sandman more viable without making him overly oppressive. And I'm again, cautiously optimistic on that. What's really interesting to note here, though, is that you can now Electro ramp into Sandman. Before, when you Electro ramped into Sandman, you'd play Electro, you have the negative effect of only you playing one card, then you had 5 energy, and you'd spend essentially 5 energy to play a 4 energy card with 1 power, just so that your opponent also had the negative effect, and that it balanced it out. That felt really bad. It didn't feel like a good move. Now, we're not wasting any energy, right? We're ramping into a 5-cost card instead of a 4-cost card. So we're not losing 1 energy worth of efficiency in that line, and we do have that extra power. Because a big thing was, well, why would I play Sandman when I can play even Spider-Woman, who's a 5/8 by her own, you know? Or a 5/7, until we get down and look at a couple more notes here, spoiler alerts. But it was an opportunity cost. You were really sacrificing power that could be played to play a 1-power card, just to make your opponent also experience Electro. You know, didn't feel good. Now that ramp line might actually feel good. We might see some play. Moving on, we got a couple of updates to some cards that were underperforming. As I hinted to, Spider-Woman now a 5/8 instead of a 5/7. I dig it. I'm down with that. Namor got buffed to a 4/6. I don't think Namor gets played at a 4/6 necessarily, but we'll see about it. He might just feel a little bit better from random generation for that. I think Spider-Woman's 5/8 is pretty strong. You know, that puts her at a potential 5/12. There's not a lot of 5/12 cards out there, and most of them have big things that you have to get around. Like Red Skull at worst is actually a 5/7. You got to zero him to guarantee he's a 5/15. So I think Spider-Woman might actually get some play. I'm excited for that because I've got some sick variants for Spider-Woman I want to pull out. Dagger going up to 2/2. I thought Dagger was able to get big enough on her own, but apparently she's seeing low playstyle. So again, 1 power buffs. I know people are like, oh no, 1 power is nothing. It's a big thing in Snap, guys. It's a big thing. Over the next week, I dare you, just take note of every time you're within 2 power difference, right? 1 or 2 power difference. How many times do you lose or win a game by that small amount? It happens a lot in Snap. So 1 power adjustments are big, but they are kind of in line with what the devs want to do. Make a small tweak, see how it changes it. Don't overhaul everything and just like completely demolish the meta, right? Just make small tricks, small adjustments to make those cards that aren't playing as well more viable. Text only update to Yondu. This is much needed. It now says that it destroys the top card, so that now you actually know, yes, this triggers null, this triggers death. So that's a good text clarification there. Additionally, some text clarifications on cards, which used to say when you play a card, they now say after you play a card, which helps clarify things. I know some stuff like having Lemuria pop on you and then you play cards on Angela, but Angela doesn't get powerful, and then Lemuria's effect next turn allows the cards to get flipped, and then Angela happens, right? So it is technically after the play is complete, not during the time you set down the play. So good clarification there. Sakar coming into a pretty big difference. After this turn, put a card from each player's hand here. There was a lot of weird interactions with Sakar when it would happen during the middle of the turn, specifically with stuff like Storm and Wave. So it's nice that they're pushing it out of the middle of the turn to help smooth out those pieces. But as a note, Sakar is still going to work the same in the introductory missions, which is a little weird. A little weird, right? But I think those are just so scripted. The new player experience, those introductory missions, they're very scripted to teach you the game. Again, similar with the cards about the after versus when played, we got some text locations or some text changes on locations. This one right here, chat. Absorbing Man's effect can now be doubled by effects such as Odin, Kamar-Taj, Wong. Didn't see this one come. I thought, and let's get all our cards up here instead of just Sandman. I thought that this was intended. I thought, Absorbing Man gets played on Wong. The battle cry that gets copied is the gain someone else's, I said battle cry, that's Hearthstone, gain someone else's on reveal. And then you can't gain that on reveal a second time, right? So you just play the second on reveal that's supposed to happen and you get one use out of it. I thought it was intended, but this is a confirmation that that was indeed a bug, and that's going to work more intuitively that most of the community they felt like it should work that way. So I'm down for it. Carousel's not going to get stuck mid-rotation. The Pro Bundle has been moved to the bottom of the shop. I think that's really good. Before I had bought the Pro Bundle, which I did. I finally broke down. I bought it because I needed some variants, but it really kind of just, was always in the way. Altar of Death is fixed now to give energy to the correct player. Internet connection is not as bad. There's a fix on some soft lock stuff. A couple of really just good quality of life bug fixes here. Miles Morales, for instance, his cost is correctly reduced, and AI should no longer retreat on matches below 10. The enemy emote font size is no longer too small. A lot of just small graphical improvements, and you can see there's a huge list of them, so we're going to go through them. There's also some known issues still in the game that they kind of go through. Things about cards behind the game results screens can be interacted with. That's still there. It's kind of rough. Yes, I did buy the Mr. Negative Bugger, the Big O, absolutely. Yeah, got a confession from me live on the YouTubes for sure. So again, some known issues, probably important to read through them just so that you know if you interact with them, you don't have to actually report them. But we'll kind of swing through these and get to the end of it, which that's the end of all the patch notes. So again, some really good quality of life fixes here. There are still some known issues. This one's probably a pretty big one. There was a payment related issue, so they temporarily paused the payment function on a MacBook, which is weird. So you're gonna have to use your mobile platform or the web shop to get some of those if you're a MacBook player. Copying and pasting decks still difficult on iOS. Android's king. Let's be real. But that's kind of the big part of the patch notes there, guys. So, thank you guys so much for swinging by, hanging out with us. And I really appreciate you for checking out the YouTubes. You can always check us out live on twitch.tv at JeeSeJames. But friends, until next time, it's been my pleasure, and I'll see you around. Oh, and sub, like, those buttons. Feel free if you want to do that. See you next time.